Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another rousing episode of Urban Politics. I'm your humble host, Fizz Ed Music, and this is Urban Politics. I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Please, as soon as you have a chance, you take a little cell phone over to YouTube. You like and subscribe. Fizz Ed Music, Urban Politics. But without further ado, I wanted to jump right into it like a car and drive because there's plenty of tasty and delicious politics to sink our teeth into. I know you've been sinking your teeth into that good Thanksgiving, right? So over the Thanksgiving holiday, and even before that, a lot of wow, salacious stuff has been going on in the news. It's sad because we're at the point in this country where you can't even talk about the news in front of your children. You don't even necessarily want your kids just sitting there watching the news because they'll hear all types of language and they'll hear about all types of things going on, from the Jeffrey Epstein files to all types of other madness that's going on out there. Now, I'm going to talk about a little bit of that because I have to. It's politics. It's in the news, right? And unfortunately, the standard bearer for the right is a salacious guy who enjoys salacious things. So we gotta talk about him, right? Because I'm talking about politics. It's urban politics, what you're here for, right? So number one, let's talk about a Fox News poll. A Fox News poll. I'll say again, a Fox News poll. We know Fox is the right arm of the Republican Party, right? But their poll even says that 76% of Republicans feel negatively about the economy. Why is that? Have you been to the store lately? Eggs are still high. Everything is still high. Gas is high. Electric's high. Groceries are high. The only thing that ain't going up is what they pay you an hour. I've been saying that on this show for years. I'm going to keep on saying it because it keeps being the truth. That's the only thing that ain't going up is what you make an hour. But everything else is on the rise. And it still comes on the backs of the American people to pay these things. Hard to do. You know what I'm saying? When you ain't got a job that gives you the money to do it. So the economy is in the toilet. This guy keeps coming on TV telling people, oh, this is the best economy we've ever had. This administration has done amazing things towards the economy and affordability. They ain't gonna talk about, the Democrats have made up this word, affordability. That is not a made up word. That's a word that you don't give a damn about because you're made of money and all you doing is making more money. But we'll even talk more about that. But anyway, so that is what it is. I can understand that. They were saying currently he is at a 60% disapproval rating. That is the lowest disapproval rating for any president in history. Think about that. In history, we had some bad presidents. Trump is a horrible president. I guess he's the worst president. The numbers say that. But we had some bad presidents. This guy, I guess the numbers are saying he's the worst. I'm not going to argue that because I'm living through this just like you're living through this. So I can't argue that, right? And it seems like he really doesn't care. I'm going to tell you something. I know he doesn't care. This guy cares about money. Full stop. That's it. He doesn't care about America. He doesn't care about the Republican Party. He doesn't care about the sycophants who love him for whatever reason or are so turned on by him and think he's so charismatic. He doesn't give a rip about any of these people. He cares about lacing his pockets with cash, right? So that whole deal that he's signing with Russia or getting Ukraine to sign, you know what I'm saying, with Russia, that basically, capitulates everything to Putin. All he do is just bend the knee to Putin, gave Putin everything that he wants, and Ukraine gets nothing. Actually, it's gonna kill Ukraine. But they gotta sign that deal because what else they gonna do? They're like, we'll be cut off from federal funding, we cut off from the US. Man, I would take my chances. Because that deal is gonna do nothing but that's it. That's it. And that's all that Putin has wanted to do, right? You know what I'm saying? All he wants to do is get all that Northern Europe territory. He gonna get all that with this deal. Trump is the man to hand him everything he wants on a silver platter. He knew that. And he played Trump accordingly, and he got what he wanted. Boom shakalaka. Come on. That ain't rocket science. That ain't rocket science at all. At all. And that's really sad. And that's why I said that's bad for Ukraine. But oh well. Oh well. You know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? It seems like nobody wants to stand up to Trump. Now, people are starting to. You know what I'm saying? There's people in the Republican Party are starting to form a backbone. You see a whole lot of these federal judges knocking down a lot of things that he's trying to get passed in the court. Then he runs to the Supreme Court and sees if they'll do his bidding. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the Supreme Court is smart and they kick it back down to regular circuit judges so that they can be the ones to tell Trump no and it doesn't have to be them. But a lot of these cases he takes to the federal level fail and they flounder. Chef's kiss. That's great because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we are a nation of laws. So we will seek retribution through the law. That's what Barack Obama said. He knew. You know what I'm saying? He was the head law lawyer at Harvard Law, right? And that's what he said. This is a country of laws. That's all America is. It's just a country of laws. So you can always seek retribution through the law. And I've also talked about what? The founding fathers who created a lot of these laws and that constitution that we live by. These guys were slime. They were garbage. They owned other human beings. They trafficked young women. They did a lot of human trafficking. They owned slaves. All these guys were horrible. They were horrible pieces of nothing. You know what I'm saying? Garbage people. But you know what they were? They were smart. And they knew they did not want a dictator. They already had that. They already had a king of England who, if he didn't see you in church on Sunday, could tax you because you didn't come to church. Well, I had things to do. My woman's sick. Or maybe me and my woman went to hang out while our kids wasn't there. So I didn't have time to come to church. Oh, well, now you're getting taxed because I was there. You should have been there. They didn't want that. They did not want a dictator. So they made sure that there are things in our Constitution that stop a dictator. And that's what Trump messed up. America is truly unique in that way. A lot of countries probably don't have that going on because they don't necessarily have that history. But we do. And that's what's going on here. And it seems to be holding. Blows me away. I didn't think Lady Liberty was this tough a chick. But Lady Liberty, she's a tough old broad. And it looks like even the likes of Trump can't take her down. And I thank God for that, because my God, where would we be if all the things he wants to do, he was getting to do? Because there's a lot of stuff he does want to do, he is doing, and that's sad. But there's a lot of things he wants to do that federal judges are stopping. Thank God for that. Where would we be if they did? Anyway, moving on. I don't have a whole lot of points, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I don't want to hold you. You got Thanksgiving going on, and then people got to go to work tomorrow. Let's talk about this, though. Wow. That's all I can say about this. Wow. Now, here's where I talk about the stuff that you don't want your kids hearing about, right? Now we're talking about the reason you can't even let your kids watch the news these days, right? Some emails come out about a guy asking Steve Bannon, if he still had the pics of Trump. Excuse my language, ladies. It's a family, family show. Blowing Bubba. GOP claims that Bubba is the name of a horse, and this isn't referring to former President Bill Clinton. Now I'm going to tell you something. Everyone knows Bill Clinton's nickname is Bubba. Everyone knows that. That is common knowledge. He's known as Bubba, and he's also known as Slick Willie. You know what I'm saying? Or if you listen to Outclass, Slick Willie Clinton, right? So he got a lot of nicknames, but everybody knows that he goes by Bubba. Everybody knows that. So for him to send an email asking that means that this picture exists. Now, here's the thing. It's interesting to me that the right would rather have you believe that Bubba's a horse than Bill Clinton, because at least if it's Bill Clinton, all that means is that Trump is a homosexual, but at least he keeps it in the species. I mean, so I'm like, I'm like, so is the right saying that they're more comfortable with their standard bearer being involved in bestiality than homosexuality? What? That is bizarre. That is really, really bizarre. And then a lot of them guys have said, oh, well, even if he did, whatever with Bill Clinton. So what? So what? I don't care. Now, a lot of these people who are on Trump, they're on him. Like he said, he could shoot somebody in the head on TV and still have these votes, still have these followers. He's right. So him doing some oral favors for Bill Clinton, that definitely ain't going to turn these people off. They're ride or dies. They're with him to the dirt. It just surprised me, right? I'm a fan of Bill Clinton. Now, Bill Clinton ain't no angel, ain't got no halos on his head, right? But he's an amazing political athlete. He's a guy who's able to get people to come together. I've even told people that what was one of his quotes? He said, to be good at politics, you have to have a horrible memory, because you have to forget all the bad stuff that this guy just said about you, and then be able to stand over here and smile with him and take a picture. So that's interesting. But I never. I don't know. I never saw Trump as looking at Bill in that way. But then when they go back through and they show how Trump has had a fixation on Hillary, and then this was interesting to me. And this is kind of what kind of tipped it off for me. Like, nah, all this stuff is true, and Trump definitely did all of that stuff to Bill. When he's going to sit there and say, how could she satisfy the country? when she can't even satisfy her husband. That's bizarre. I'm sorry, man. Wouldn't no heterosexual man be thinking about how this man's woman couldn't satisfy him? That just wouldn't be in your head. Unless you were on that. And it looks like he's been on that. And it looks like all that locker up stuff and all that stuff. It looks like he wanted Bill. I don't know what to say about that at all. It's interesting how a lot of these guys who sit on the right, they come after the LGBTQ community, they come after gay people, they come after trans people, and then they always come out to be gay, right? They talked about how, what was it, the RNC, the National Convention was going on, and Grindr got locked up, you know, or shut down because there were so many people in the same proximity, and then Grindr ended up grinding to a halt. So it seems like a lot of these guys on the right are gay, but they come against that community so tough and with so much fervor. So, yeah, all this is true. You know what I'm saying? Trump has been on that with Bill for a while. It's interesting because when they came to Bill and they asking him questions, he ain't do nothing but smile and look away. That's another thing, too. When people ain't denying things, you didn't deny it. You didn't deny it. You have not heard Trump come. Now, they say he's well insulated, and somebody was even saying he may not have even seen or heard all this stuff we're talking about. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Trump has seen some of these jokes. He knows that people are talking about him supposedly Bill Clinton. He knows this, but he ain't came out and said, no, it didn't happen. He hasn't came out and said, no, I want to clear my name. None of that. Because he can. Because it's true. It's all true. So, that's interesting. I've thought a lot of things about Trump and Bill Clinton. But I never thought this. But that just shows you the wildness of life. You know, you live long enough, you'll see and hear all types of stuff. And that blows me away about those two gentlemen. But it is what it is. And actually, that's not a big deal. I don't have a problem with that. Because they ain't got nothing to do with me. It ain't my business. Whatever they want to do is their business. But it blows me away how this guy, especially you, Trump, I mean, if you know you get into that, why do you have to come after the gay community so tough when you know, low-key, you in that community? Come out the closet, bro. Do us all a favor and come out the closet. You know, stop making all of America pay for your insecurities or inability to accept yourself. Why we all got to pay for that? I can say that to anybody on the right? So anyway, there's that. As I get out of here, as I see, time is drawing nigh. I want to talk about my IPA of the week. Yes, sir. Bringing it right back. There's some good IPAs out there right now. And this one right here is Rheingeist. Yep, and it's made in Cincinnati. I've had some Rheingeist up here before, different Rheingeist beers. This one right here, I froze up on me. Come on now. There you go. Rheingeist. Y'all can see that. That's a good one right there. You know what this is? Truth Bomb. Yeah, that's interesting, ain't it? They would take that Truth Bomb. Been some Truth Bombs lately, right? So this is an Imperial Pale Ale, so it's an IPA. You know I'm an IPA guy. I love a good IPA. Hey, hold on. Delish. 9.5% alcohol. So you're going to feel that. That's more bang for your buck right there, ladies and gentlemen. So, got a little bit of money in your pocket. Maybe run down here to the corner store and get you a Rheingeist Truth Bomb. 9.5% alcohol. Delicious IPA. I'm trying to see because, you know, they always get a little write-up about the beer or how good it is and the hops and blah, 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 blah. But I guess they said we ain't even messing with that right here. Just to let you know, it's 9.5% alcohol. It's IPA, and it's made by Rheingeist. That's enough for you. Hey, it's a pretty delicious beer. It ain't got no citrus or nothing like that. And I do like a lot of that type of stuff, especially a nice IPA. This is still a good IPA. I've been sipping on it for a minute here. It's almost going now. So yeah, that's how you know it's good. But like I said, you got a little bit of money in your pocket. Run on down there and get you a nice Truth Bomb IPA by Rheingeist. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. I'm out of here. Once again, I want to thank you all for liking and subscribing as you do. Please, as soon as you have a chance, take yourself on over to YouTube. Like and subscribe. Phil said music, urban politics. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to see you around like a donut.